It's okay to have fear. It's okay to feel fear. What is not okay is to let it draw you into tears. For me, it's a journey from being vulnerable to being fearless. It came after forcing myself to grow within my own fears. Biggest fear that I had is to lose what I already have. That may be personal or professional. Fearlessness is often confused with being rude, insensitive, and arrogant. We have a saying in Marathi, Kar nahi, tara dar kashala. If you haven't done anything wrong, why fear? I was born in Dhule, a well-planned city of Maharashtra. My birth, as a first girl child, was the happiest moment for my parents, especially for my father. But the other family members and relatives were not excited as they were expecting first child as a boy. My mother, because of those taunts and comments, was in tears for quite some days. But my father was already on cloud nine. They never treated me any lesser than my younger brothers. My parents always had my back, especially my mother, who despite all the hardships in her own way, supported me emotionally. She empowered us and bestowed us with the understanding of gender equality. My parents always made sure to treat me and my brothers equally in every aspect. They nurtured the values in all the siblings in the same manner. The way they brought us up made me fearless despite any situation in personal or professional life. During my school days, my father had a financial setback, and my mother, being housewife, encouraged me to take tuitions to pay my own school fees. Even my younger brothers supported me financially by selling newspapers that time. The glimpses of those early mornings, while my brothers leaving to distribute newspapers despite rain or cold, makes me feel fearless. The urge for getting things done, despite any situation, has paved a path from that early stage. Even my school teachers supported me during the same period. I owe them a lot. And I made sure to receive scholarships and fundings to continue my education. As I was good at studies, my father always wanted me to be a medical doctor. For him, it was the most sophisticated and prestigious profession I could be in. But I had no plan, except I had an eye somewhere in the skies. During primary school days, once I asked my teacher about two moons mentioned in the news article. It was too confusing for her. We knew only one moon until then, which we see always in the sky. So how come two moons? My curiosity was answered after I read about the natural and artificial satellites, which were also called as moons for other planets in layman's language. This was only the beginning. I knew someday I'll be a satellite remote sensing expert and utilizing those satellite images for planetary exploration. The path throughout the education was full of empty stomach and sleepless nights. From doing sophisticated laboratory analysis to collecting rock samples in the field, I have tested every bit of it enthusiastically. Though, sometimes I faced restrictions and implications for being a girl. You cannot do this. You will not be able to do this. You should not be doing this. I was bombarded numerous times, at numerous stages since childhood. Due to financial constraints, I had to choose microbiology instead of engineering in my bachelor's. I did very well, securing 24th rank in whole university, even though I was forced to be in it. Further, I explored my interests and diverted my career path towards space research. This was a bit challenging stage, as I could have easily mastered in the same field. But dilemma continued and opportunities came. I got opportunity to pursue my Masters in Technology through Indian Space Research Organization, funded CSSTEP program, which is affiliated to the United Nations. It was quite attractive. I was the only girl who received 100% fellowship to pursue MTech from Asia Pacific zone, and I was the youngest one. It kicked my research instincts to further dive into research field. Further, I got selected for PhD in IIT Bombay. A new chapter began. I got married and I went to London with my husband. Entering from my small hostel rooms to my very own apartment was quite challenging, especially without any practice of managing household. This new avenue got smoother due to my in-laws, my parents, and my husband's guidance. With international exposure and connections, I received an opportunity to pursue Space Studies program of International Space University with Dr. Kalpana Chawla scholarship. More than anything, I enjoyed the diversity of the program, which attracted participants from all over the world with different realms of the space to work together on the same program and trying to find the solution with their own expertise. The most important achievement was connections and bondings for life. This was the only program I have been until now where the gender balance was maintained with 1:1 ratio. World should idealize such initiative to help young girls to achieve their dreams. Funny thing was, during microbiology days, it was only 4 boys in the class of total 40 students, and during IIT times, it was like more than 90% campus only filled with boys. From co-ed to such drastic imbalance ratio triggered a sense of responsibility to uplift the balance of curve. Last year, I attended and shared a session in Women in Space conference at Arizona, where we discussed the challenges and hurdles for women in STEM, that is, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The problem is in roots. Everywhere, the problems are same, despite age or field. Girls should be encouraged to take up STEM. There are numerous scholarships and schemes available for girls to study in India now. Government is also working towards it. Persistent flow of women in STEM will gear up to provide maximum discharge of sense of equality, prosperity, peace and development for the society. So let's not make a soft impression, but a strong and persistent impression, girls. All emotional and psychological vulnerabilities are surely given. But there is a world outside this storming river which will reward you and accept you with all the positivity and glory only if you dare to cross. It is well said by a feminist, activist and social scientist, Kamla Bhasin. I know many women who are totally patriarchal, and I have men who have worked for women's rights their whole life. Hence, feminism is not biological. Feminism is an ideology. I always had a rock-solid supportive mother and female friends to cheer me in my bad moments. Women should support each other with zeal and enthusiasm to create a better and balanced world. It's okay to compete. It's a fuel for a healthy play. Now, I'm mom of 6-month-old baby girl. We were blessed to have her a bit earlier than the expected date. Away from homeland without my parents or in-laws, we delivered her in London during COVID strict lockdown. During labor, Just for a moment, her heartbeat stopped, and I could see the labor room full of doctors and midwives to tackle the issue. I was just consistently asked to take deep and frequent breaths. It settled after a while. Nobody was allowed due to corona situation, though my husband was called and asked to come urgently. It was a nightmare. He rushed and was with me throughout the delivery. He is scared of seeing blood, never holded babies before, though he was the first person to hold her with all smiles and confidence. Her movements, breathes, just after birth, and his smile makes me feel fearless. For me, being fearless was always interdependent and synchronized with the strength I derive from the close ones. They are like strong trees and me being parasite climbing over them to reach new avenues. I conclude my talk with a recent gesture made by my mother. She said, "You're lucky to have a true companion." Yes, you're lucky to have a true companion for your fearless journey ahead. Your daughter. Here she is, with me celebrating my recognition. Asian Woman of Achievement Science Award 2020. She is my true companion, my Sangini, in reaching for stars.